Break the Cycle of Overthinking and Thrive, an audiobook by Rooted in Self-Love. Before we begin, I wanted to thank you for being a part of this journey with me. I am building a community of women that are stepping into their power and living to their full potential. There is a lot to look forward to in this journey. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any videos or updates on resources and activities in the community. Chapter 1. Trapped in Your Own Mind. Have you ever lain awake at night, replaying a conversation, analyzing every word, and wondering if you said the wrong thing? Or maybe you found yourself stuck in an endless what-if spiral. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if I make the wrong choice? That's overthinking, a cycle of thoughts that feels productive but often leaves us drained, anxious, and paralyzed. Overthinking is more than just thinking too much. It's when your thoughts stop being helpful and start looping in circles. Psychologists describe it in two main forms: worry, imagining all the bad things that might happen in the future, and rumination, rehashing past mistakes or conversations you can't change. Both keep your mind busy, but never move you forward. Consider this. You receive a short text that says, "We need to talk." Instead of waiting calmly, your mind jumps into overdrive. You imagine scenarios from being criticized at work to a relationship ending. Hours later, you're exhausted, and nothing has even happened yet. Or think of the times you second-guessed a decision, revisiting it 100 times even after you'd chosen. These are everyday examples of how overthinking quietly steals our peace. You are not alone in this struggle. Research shows that nearly 75% of adults admit to overthinking at some point, and for many, it becomes a daily habit. It often comes from a good place, wanting to be prepared, to avoid mistakes, to protect ourselves. But the irony is that overthinking rarely brings clarity. Instead, it magnifies fear and keeps us stuck. This book is about breaking free from that mental prison. As we move through each chapter, you'll discover how to recognize when your thoughts are no longer serving you, how to interrupt those cycles, and how to replace them with clarity, calm, and confidence. For now, pause and ask yourself, where in my life do I feel trapped in my own mind? Naming it is the first step toward freedom. Chapter 2. The Science of Overthinking. To break the cycle of overthinking, we first need to understand why it happens. The truth is, your brain is not broken. It's simply doing what it was designed to do: keep you safe. From an evolutionary perspective, the human brain developed what psychologists call a negativity bias. Our ancestors needed to scan for danger constantly, listening for predators, watching for threats, remembering which berries were poisonous. A brain that worried survived. Fast forward thousands of years, and we still carry that survival wiring. The problem? Most of our modern threats aren't lions or snakes. They're emails, deadlines, arguments, or the fear of being judged. When you sense uncertainty, your brain's amygdala, the alarm system, activates. It floods your body with stress hormones like cortisol, urging you to prepare. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that plans and analyzes, then tries to solve the threat. But because the threat is often abstract or uncontrollable, like worrying if someone likes you or if you'll make the right decision, the analysis never ends. This creates the loop we call overthinking. Research shows that repetitive negative thinking activates the same brain networks as pain. No wonder it feels exhausting. The more you engage these loops, the stronger those neural pathways become, like carving deeper grooves in a record. The good news? Just as the brain can reinforce overthinking, it can also learn new, healthier patterns. Understanding the science helps take away the shame. Overthinking doesn't mean you're weak or flawed. It means your brain is doing its job just a little too well. You wouldn't judge yourself for having a heartbeat that races when you run. In the same way, you don't need to judge yourself for having thoughts that race under stress. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore practical ways to calm this survival system, rewire your brain, and reclaim your peace. For now, let this sink in. There's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is trying to protect you, and that means you have the power to teach it a new way. Chapter 3, The Hidden Costs of Overthinking. On the surface, overthinking might seem harmless, just a busy mind. But beneath the surface, it quietly chips away at your energy, relationships, and well-being. When you live in your head too much, the costs are real and far-reaching. First, let's talk about energy. Overthinking is like leaving too many apps open on your phone. Even when you're not aware of it, those thoughts run in the background, draining your mental battery. You wake up tired, struggle to focus, and by the end of the day, you feel exhausted, even if you haven't done much physically. Then, there's decision paralysis. Have you ever gone back and forth on a choice until you felt stuck? Overthinking often disguises itself as being thorough, but instead of bringing clarity, it traps you in endless debate. You fear making the wrong move, so you make no move at all. And inaction, ironically, becomes the very thing that keeps you from moving forward. Overthinking also affects relationships. Imagine second-guessing every word you say, replaying conversations, or constantly needing reassurance. While you're caught in the loops of, did I upset them? Or what do they really mean? Connection suffers. Instead of being fully present, you're lost in mental analysis. Loved ones may feel unheard or misunderstood, even though you care deeply. The toll doesn't stop there. Chronic overthinking impacts your body too. Stress hormones rise, muscles tense, and sleep gets disrupted. Studies have linked repetitive negative thinking to higher risks of anxiety, depression, and even cardiovascular problems. What starts as just thoughts can literally weigh on your health. And perhaps the greatest cost, blocked growth. Every moment you spend trapped in what-ifs is a moment you could have spent creating, trying, living. Overthinking convinces you to wait until you're certain, but certainty rarely comes. Growth requires risk, and risk feels impossible when your mind demands absolute guarantees. Recognizing these hidden costs isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to awaken you. Overthinking is not just a mental habit. It's a barrier between you and the life you're meant to live. Chapter 4, Recognizing Your Triggers. Overthinking doesn't appear out of nowhere. It has triggers. Certain situations, emotions, or memories act like switches, flipping your mind into overdrive. Learning to recognize these triggers is the first step to breaking free. For many, one major trigger is fear of failure. The thought of making a mistake feels so heavy that your mind begins rehearsing every possible outcome. Instead of moving forward, you get trapped in what-if scenarios. Others struggle with perfectionism. When nothing ever feels good enough, your brain keeps searching for flaws, keeping you stuck in endless revisions and self-criticism. Uncertainty is another powerful spark. The human brain loves control, but life is full of unknowns: jobs, relationships, finances. When answers aren't clear, your mind tries to create control by spinning stories and rehearsing outcomes. And for some, past trauma or rejection makes the brain hypersensitive. A harsh word, a delay in response, or a small mistake can trigger memories of old wounds, causing overthinking as a way to anticipate and avoid pain. The key is awareness. When you notice the starting point of your overthinking, you regain power over it. Instead of being swept into the spiral, you can pause and name what's happening. I'm second-guessing because I fear being judged. Or I'm overanalyzing because uncertainty makes me anxious. Naming the trigger shines a light on what was once automatic. Here's a simple reflective exercise. 1. Think about a recent time you caught yourself overthinking. 2. Ask, what was happening right before the spiral started? 3. Write down the situation, your feelings, and the thoughts that followed. 4. Repeat this practice over a week. Look for patterns. Do the same themes appear? This exercise isn't about judgment. It's about clarity. When you know your triggers, you can prepare for them. You can step into those moments with tools instead of being swept away by loops. Remember, awareness is not the solution in itself, but it is the doorway. Once you recognize what sparks your overthinking, you're ready to learn how to interrupt it. That's where we're heading next. Chapter 5, the pause button, how to interrupt mental loops. Recognizing your triggers is powerful, but awareness alone won't quiet your mind. You need a way to press pause when thoughts start spiraling. Think of it like stopping a runaway train before it gains too much speed. The good news is you can train your brain to do just that. One of the simplest tools is breath work. When overthinking kicks in, your body shifts into stress mode, shallow breathing, racing heart, tense muscles. Slowing your breath tells your nervous system, you are safe. Try this. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 4, exhale for 6. Repeat a few times. Within minutes, your mind begins to settle because your body signals calm to your brain. Another tool is grounding. Overthinking pulls you into the past or the future, but grounding anchors you in the present. Use the 5-4-3-2-1 method. Name 5 things you see, 4 you feel, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, and 1 you taste. This exercise interrupts racing thoughts and brings you back into your body, into now. Then there's mental reframing. Overthinking often magnifies the worst-case scenario. To reframe, ask, what else could be true? Instead of, I know I embarrassed myself, try, maybe they didn't even notice. Or, even if I made a mistake, it's human. Reframing doesn't deny the problem. It widens the lens, reducing the grip of fear. Here's the key. These techniques work best when practiced regularly, not only in crisis. Think of them as mental fitness. The more you train, the easier it becomes to hit pause before thoughts spiral out of control. Next time you notice yourself replaying a conversation or worrying about an uncertain outcome, experiment with one of these tools. Pause, breathe, ground, reframe. With practice, you'll prove to yourself that you are not powerless against your thoughts. You are the one in control of the switch. Chapter 6, From Worry to Wisdom. Overthinking isn't always the enemy. At its core, it comes from a desire to protect yourself, prepare, or learn. The problem is when thinking stops being useful and becomes a trap. The goal isn't to shut off your mind. It's to transform worry into wisdom. So how do we do that? The first step is distinguishing reflection from rumination. Reflection asks, what can I learn? How can I move forward? Rumination, on the other hand, asks, why did this happen? What if it goes wrong again? One moves you toward clarity. The other keeps you circling the drain. When you catch yourself spiraling, pause and ask, am I reflecting or ruminating? Next, let's look at problem solving. Instead of rehashing a situation endlessly, try structured thinking. Write down the problem. List out 3 possible solutions. Identify the first small step you can take. Action breaks the loop because your brain shifts from endless speculation to forward motion. For decision-making, use what psychologists call the good enough principle. Instead of chasing the perfect choice, Ask, is this option good enough based on what I know now? Remind yourself that most decisions can be adjusted later. Clarity often comes after action, not before. Finally, there's extracting lessons. Overthinking often keeps you stuck on mistakes. Instead, reframe the question, what can this experience teach me? Maybe a failed project shows you where you need more support. Maybe a tough conversation highlights the importance of boundaries. When you shift from blame to learning, your mind becomes an ally instead of a critic. The truth is, your brain is built for thought. The challenge is guiding it toward wisdom rather than worry. Every time you redirect overthinking into reflection, problem solving, or learning, you strengthen new pathways. Remember this, you don't have to silence your mind to find peace. You simply have to train it to work for you, not against you. That's how worry becomes wisdom and how growth begins. Chapter 7. Building trust in yourself. At the heart of overthinking lies a quiet but powerful force, self-doubt. When you don't fully trust yourself, every decision feels risky, every mistake feels catastrophic, and every choice demands endless analysis. Overthinking is often your mind's attempt to borrow certainty from outside sources, what others think, how they'll respond, whether you'll be good enough. The cure isn't to seek more reassurance. It's to build trust within yourself. Trust grows through small, consistent actions. Each time you follow through on a promise to yourself, your inner confidence deepens. Think of it like strengthening a muscle. Repetition creates resilience. Here are a few practices to begin. Affirmations. Words shape beliefs. Start your day by affirming truths that counter self-doubt. I can handle what comes my way. My worth isn't based on perfection. I trust myself to make good decisions. Over time, these words rewire your self-talk from criticism to confidence. Journaling. Writing helps you slow down racing thoughts and see them clearly. Try free writing for 5 minutes when you feel stuck, or use prompts like, what am I afraid will happen, and what's another possibility? Journaling turns vague worry into something tangible, and therefore manageable. Decision journaling. This simple tool strengthens trust over time. Each time you make a decision, write down what you chose, why you chose it, and how you felt. Later, review your notes. You'll begin to see a pattern. More often than not, your instincts were wiser than your fears suggested. As you build trust in yourself, overthinking loses its grip. Decisions no longer require endless reassurance. Conversations don't need days of replaying. You stop outsourcing your confidence and start carrying it from within. Remember, trust is not built overnight, but every small act of self-belief compounds. Each choice you honor, each step you take despite fear, is proof I can trust myself. I am safe within myself. That inner security is the antidote to doubt and the foundation of freedom from overthinking. Chapter 8. Creating mental boundaries. Your mind is like a home. Without walls, doors, or fences, anything can enter. Noise, clutter, chaos. Overthinking thrives in an unprotected space. To reclaim peace, you need mental boundaries, clear limits on what you allow to take up space in your head, and for how long. One powerful approach is mental minimalism. Just as minimalism in your home means keeping only what serves you, mental minimalism means letting go of unnecessary thought clutter. Ask yourself, is this thought useful or is it draining me? If it doesn't serve a purpose, like problem solving, planning, or learning, it's clutter. And clutter can go. Another strategy is compartmentalizing. This doesn't mean avoiding issues. It means giving them a designated place and time. For example, instead of worrying all day about a financial decision, Set a 20-minute window in the evening to review your budget. By containing the thought, you protect the rest of your day from being consumed by it. You can also practice saying no to toxic spirals. When you notice yourself replaying the same scenario, gently interrupt with a phrase like, "Stop. This thought doesn't deserve more of my energy." Pair it with a grounding practice, breathing, stretching, or shifting your focus to a task that brings you back into the present. Protecting mental energy also means setting boundaries with external inputs. If certain conversations, social media, or news sources trigger overthinking, limit your exposure. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Guard it wisely. The truth is, you don't have to entertain every thought that knocks on your door. You get to choose which ones come in, how long they stay, and which ones are shown the exit. Boundaries aren't about control. They're about freedom. When you begin setting mental boundaries, you'll notice more space inside yourself, more clarity, more energy, more calm. Overthinking thrives in chaos, but within clear boundaries, peace has room to grow. Chapter 9, Daily Practices for a Clear Mind. Breaking free from overthinking isn't about a single breakthrough. It's about the habits you cultivate every day. Small, intentional practices create an environment where clarity thrives and spirals lose their grip. Think of these habits as tools in your mental toolkit. One powerful tool is mindfulness. Even 5 minutes of sitting quietly and focusing on your breath trains your brain to notice thoughts without attaching to them. Over time, mindfulness builds the skill of observing instead of spiraling, watching thoughts pass like clouds rather than storms. Movement is another daily ally. Exercise, whether walking, stretching, or dancing, releases endorphins, lowers stress hormones, and shifts energy from your head into your body. Movement clears mental fog and makes space for fresh perspective. Then there are gratitude rituals. Overthinking often focuses on what's missing, wrong, or uncertain. Gratitude redirects attention to what's good, grounding you in the present. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small. This practice rewires your brain to notice abundance instead of lack. Equally important are digital boundaries. Our devices feed constant stimulation, triggering comparison, worry, and information overload. Protect your mental space by setting limits. No screens first thing in the morning, or creating phone-free zones at mealtimes and bedtime. A quieter digital world makes for a quieter inner world. The key is not to do everything perfectly, but to design a routine that fits your life. Maybe it's a morning walk, a gratitude journal at night, and 30 minutes of tech-free time before bed. Consistency matters more than intensity. These practices don't eliminate overthinking overnight. Instead, they strengthen your resilience day by day, making it easier to stay grounded and focused. The more you nurture clarity through routine, the less power spirals have over you. Ask yourself, what one habit could I start today to create more mental space? Begin there. Small steps, repeated daily, create lasting freedom. Chapter 10, Thriving Beyond Overthinking. Imagine waking up in the morning with a clear mind. Instead of replaying yesterday's conversations or worrying about tomorrow's problems, you greet the day with presence. Your energy feels lighter. Your choices come with confidence. Your relationships feel deeper because you're fully there, not lost in analysis. This is what life beyond overthinking can look like: peaceful, focused, and authentic. Thriving doesn't mean your mind will never wander again. It means you now have the awareness and the tools to bring yourself back. Overthinking no longer controls you. You control it with breath work, grounding, reframing, and daily habits of mindfulness, gratitude, and movement, you've learned how to create mental space where creativity and joy can flourish. The journey doesn't end here. Thriving is not a final destination. It's a way of living. Each moment is a chance to practice trust, presence, and clarity. Some days you'll feel calm and centered, and other days the old patterns may resurface. That's okay. Progress is measured not by perfection, but by the gentle return, again and again, to peace. Celebrate how far you've come. By listening to this book, you've already taken steps many never take. You've faced your mind, named your patterns, and chosen freedom over fear. That is something to be proud of. As you move forward, carry this truth with you. Your thoughts are powerful, but you are more powerful than your thoughts. You are free to live, create, love, and thrive beyond the limits of overthinking. Now, I want to leave you with a question to reflect on. If your mind were no longer your prison, what beautiful things would you create with your freedom? Share your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear your vision. And if this message resonated with you, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps this channel grow and allows us to continue creating content that inspires and empowers. Until next time, stay rooted in self-love.